Hello everyone, welcome to today's speed build. So today I am doing a house that's actually designed around an apartment I lived in when I was in college. It's a little bit different. The apartment I was in was 4 single rooms with ensuite bathrooms. This one I just did 2 double rooms, each with their own bathroom, but the same overall layout I kept, including the back balcony. Admittedly, in this build, I spent way more time on the landscaping and the backyard than I did the actual house because I feel like that's the area I've been struggling in. So I definitely wanted more practice with that, and that is very apparent in this build. So for the landscaping, again, I went through a lot of debug items. But these hedges from Island Living I really love because they're not just that plain green, they actually come in a variety of colors. I think there's this white here and then a red and maybe a pink swatch that they come in, but I like them. I think it's better than just the plain green, especially since this house is supposed to be for 4 females, so a little bit more girly touch. And with the landscaping, I did keep all white flowers, so keep it more uniform that way, and then just some debug rocks to add for a path. I do end up raising this house up on a foundation, but when I'm doing landscaping directly next to the house, I like to start it off without a foundation. That way the items don't snap up to the next level or anything. So that's why the path looks a little disjointed right now, but once I raise the foundation, you'll see, yeah, there you go. And you'll see I add stairs and then it looks more uniform. The apartment I lived in also had this half brick, half siding, so I went with that for the outside of this house too. I tried to keep it as similar to that place as I could, just so I didn't have to think too much. It sounds so lazy, but whatever. And the pizza floats I thought were very fitting for college-aged people, especially if they're having pool parties. Like, obviously there's going to be pizza involved. And I really liked this. I did a couple things with platforms in the backyard, but I did this raised 1-level platform for an outdoor cooking area. I didn't do ovens, I just put a grill and a cooler in there, but it is fully functional. They can cook out there or they can get food from the indoor kitchen and cook out here, but I just thought it was a good concept. And there is a bar out there because, again, college aged, they're gonna have parties out here, and I added seating out here as well so they can sit and eat. There'll be like a picnic table and then some lounge chairs. I actually don't know if they'll be able to sit on the lounge chairs where I put them, but they can always be moved. And again, I kept the landscaping rather simple. I just repeated a lot of the same items over and over again just to make it look more full. But it is overall a pretty simple design. Just some green and white, and then of course the terrain paint, which I like to layer because I think it looks a little bit more realistic, especially with the pathways. I generally layer at least 2 types of the stone walkways. And if I want to give it a more worn look, I'll put some dirt on top of it as well, or some mulch. And I went along and just fenced in the landscaping a little bit just to give it a more manicured look, because I figured that they're just renting this house and they don't actually own it, so it's very like manicured and polished on the outside. And that idea shows on the inside as well, like when I do the flooring and the walls, it's just very basic because I did keep in mind that they were probably just renting this place. Which is also another reason why the outside might be more fun, because it'll be more appealing to renters. And then these are the chairs. I don't know if they'll actually be usable. I know the one not in the corner will be, but I'm not sure about the one in the corner. But again, you can always just move them around. And of course, they don't want to get sunburns, gotta put the umbrella up. And I actually remembered a trash can this time, both indoor and outdoor. And I did very basic furniture outside. I kept it all pretty uniform as well, because again, I think that they're renting, so most of the furniture probably came with the house and not their own. And I did the bikes, and I ended up doing that trick I did in one of my other builds with the debug item that looks like a stand to attach their bikes to. Here is where I did a little bit more with the platforms. I made a sunken fire pit. I don't remember where I had seen this before, but this definitely isn't my idea. I had seen it on someone else's either build or picture online. I really don't remember where, so I can't properly credit them, but it was not an idea I came up with. And I noticed that the benches glitched into one of the platforms, so I actually took advantage of that, and I think it looked cool. They sort of look like they might be built in or something. So there's definitely enough seating for people to have fun and just hang out, enjoy the fire pit. And then this is the cooking/bar area. I did add a couple seats in here, but mainly the seating would probably be the picnic table outside. And if you turn the bar around this way, it is fully functional. They just don't sit at it, but they can still make their drinks and everything at it. I did not end up playtesting that grill, so I'm not sure if it'll work with those counter pieces attached to it, but I thought it looked good, so I kept it. I forgot to playtest that. And then a couple more debug items around just to give it a more finished look. And because that concrete planter is a debug, your Sims will ignore it. They'll just acknowledge the plant right there, so it's not in the way of them walking around or anything. Did some more landscaping, just a couple trees and bushes again, and then I go in and add a swing set just to make the backyard, I wanted to take up the whole area of the lot. I feel like a lot of times I leave most of the lot empty, so I really wanted to utilize the entire space, and I played with sizing up and down some of the landscaping items and just made it more lush and inviting for the Sims. Still kept with the same color scheme though, just that simple white flowers and greenery. I did add a couple of those colored flowers in just because they're in the world setting around, so I wanted to draw that in as well. And then some more terrain paint just to make it look more lifelike a little bit. And here I decided to reshape the house a little bit just so it wasn't a perfect square. I made the bathrooms a little bit smaller, and of course had to redo the roof a little bit. But I thought that made it look more realistic instead of just like a giant square. I kept the bathrooms exactly the same. The only thing I changed was like the shower curtain liner because I figured they would have to buy their own for that. But like I said, this is someplace that they're renting. So of course all the counter space, all the actual appliances, all the large pieces of furniture I figure would have come with the building. So I did keep them the same for both rooms, just added different color swatches. I figured one side of the house would be for a pair of girls that are both into music. I don't know if the four of them knew each other before, or maybe two sets of friends moved in together, or they just lucked out and got really good roommates. But one side of the house is for some musical Sims, and then the other side of the house is for Sims that are definitely more on the feminine side, the flowers, more artsy, more into makeup a little bit. But then with the flooring and the wallpaper, like I said, I kept it very basic, very college apartment style, I guess, with the very basic and minimalistic furniture. It may not all match all the time, as you'll see when I get to the sitting area in this room a little bit. But from my experience when I lived in the apartment that I styled this over, our common area was very clean. Most of us spent all of our time in our rooms, except for the couch with the TV, because we all happened to be gamers, so that was pretty fun. So we would play a lot of games out there. So all of our like knickknacks would end up on the coffee table because we would all just sit there, and then we would use the balcony a lot too, but like the kitchen and the dining area really remained untouched. So I didn't add any clutter to this kitchen just because that's how I envisioned it being. Originally I wanted to keep that longer table, but one of the main focal points I wanted in this room was a couch and love seat, and with the long table it just wasn't going to be doable, so I moved it to the smaller table. And those table and chairs are what we got in the update with the custom content creators, so I think those are pretty cool. I love the swatches on those. They actually match. Imagine that. And then just basic curtains. I figured these main room curtains probably came with the apartment as well. Some wall art I figured was more tailored to them. This section of the wall I made, we had like a chalkboard and a bulletin board there and just like where we would share our notes or reminders for each other, so I kept that true to what I knew. And the coffee table I used here, I actually just sized it down one to fit into the area better, so I don't know if the couches will be usable or not because of that. Again, I didn't play test this, so I'm sorry, but you could always switch it out for just a regular end table if you needed to. And then the bedrooms, I kept the same idea, figuring like the beds, the nightstands, the desks, and the closets would have come with the place, and they would just be able to personalize like their sheets, the curtains, any decorations in the room, but everything else is pretty uniform. I also went with the more worn-looking nightstands, figured many people have rented this place before them. But I did give each of the Sims their own computer because if they're college age, they're going to need it for sure. And I arranged the rooms a little different for the two sides because I figured although the furniture came with the room, they would be able to personalize the location a little bit. So I did do that. Then just the computers that I gave each of the girls. I gave them all the same computer. I don't know if those are school given or if they all happen to have the same, but I just decided to give them all the same one. And then of course the musical instruments since they're into that. And I did end up putting one, I think that these protest signs, I think they look like protest signs. I put one in each room so that way there's not like a clear divide between the two groups of friends. Like obviously there's some overlap, they do get along. They just decided to room with ones that have similar interests to them a little bit. And I layered some clothing racks in those wardrobes. I figured it added a little bit of more personality, more color. And I did a lot of clutter. I figured maybe that one girl was a little bit more messy than the other ones. I put the floor clutter there. And then, of course, I did clutter that would be unique to the girls that are in each room. And of course, school clutter with books and all that. But they each have their own like bathroom caddy that's unique to them and just some, stuff that they might have brought from home, stuffed animals, pictures, that sort of thing. Things you would find in a normal college dorm or college apartment. And of course the binders and study books hidden behind clutter, but they're still there. Ahead and just add one rug in this room and then some curtains with a different color scheme. And I figured this room was pretty done, so then I moved on to the room with the two girls that probably a little bit more feminine, a little bit more about the makeup and the art stuff. Not that the other ones aren't, but these are a little less music oriented and a little bit more fashion and art motivated, I would say. That picture kept snapping up and I don't know why, I couldn't figure it out, but I ended up going ahead and moving them on later anyhow. Along with these wall decals, I played around a little bit. But I figured that sim over there might be more into photography and fashion, and then this one over here is more into like the floral and just basic arts. And then I added some gnomes in the front yard just to add a little bit more character. Those beaded curtains on the windows, and there's that other protest sign I was talking about as well. And I figured that sim was probably very organized, so I gave her the hobby board to keep everything nice and organized for her. And then on this wardrobe here, the one that's more about the fashion, I did end up adding that dress and businesswoman fashion hook. I figured that fit really well. And then this makeup clutter here on the floor that fit the personalities of these two sims as well. A couple more posters. And even with the clutter that I ended up putting on their desks and bureaus, like I put some plants and flowers in this room. I did give this girl, I sized down those collection dolls that you get. I figured they kind of looked like Funko Pops a little bit. I thought maybe she's like secretly into that stuff. I don't know, has a little collection going. I just thought they looked pretty cool. Oh yeah, I put the knitting stuff on this side for this girl, so like I said, she's probably more of the artsy one. She likes to make things. And I tried to keep the room very pink and purple. Added some more fashion clutter and just some books for their schooling around. I gave each of these girls a rug. I couldn't decide how I wanted that one to be, but it ended up just being crooked, and this one was very basic, just under the desk and bed. And then I went ahead and added some flip-flop lights in the kitchen area outside. I figured that was a nice touch for this age of sim, and then just some plants in these planter boxes here. I thought that was a nice touch as well, and that is the end of this speed build. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Of course, there'll be a walkthrough at the end, and I will see you next time. Bye!